2 downloads.
Hello, everybody, and welcome
14.
back to Podcast Time. Hello, Tyler.
Hello. It's been a while since we've done a podcast, actually, it feels like. Forever
Yeah,
since we
this is
last
only
done one.
episode 2 of Season 2.
I know. The first part of the season was pretty good. This one's gonna be pretty good, too. I think I got lots to talk about. So.
Yeah, we're going to start with one of your topics, right?
I could have a 4th topic, but we try not to talk about controversies with our YouTube channels or like stuff about our YouTube channels. I hope that hints on what I was talking about there. That's not one of the
I
three
have a
that
good idea of what you're talking about now that you said that.
But I guess we could save that for later. I got 3 other topics to talk about. We'll start with, we got 2 things about YouTube itself, not about our channels, but like other things on YouTube. And then another one. So we'll start with one of the first YouTube things. It's about the Boogie2988 Frank Castle thing that happened about a week ago now, actually. So basically, this started back in like August, apparently, and Frank had a YouTube channel, and his content was just basically going around harassing people at their houses and stuff. His channel got terminated, so he took to Twitter, like the smart-ass he is, goes to Twitter to talk about his problems. He starts giving threats to Boogie, and you know Boogie, I mean, he's a very paranoid guy, he's been through a lot. He once got shit mailed to his door, do you know that?
No.
No, he did. So he has a roommate that he lives with. He used to have a wife too. His divorce. That's a different story. He has a roommate though, and his roommate has a gun. So we'll get to that in a minute. But basically, this continued on. For some reason, Keemstar got involved, and he wanted to have Boogie and Frank. Boogie and Frank have been going back and forth for a while at this point, and stuff. And then Boogie and Frank went on drama alert with Keemstar, and basically they were threatening each other back and forth. So what Frank did eventually is, this was a couple weeks ago now, he went to Fayetteville, Arkansas, where Boogie lives, the town that Boogie lives in, said on Twitter, "I'm in Boogie's town." I'm gonna open that soda real quick. Then he went around and found out where Boogie lives, showed up at his front door the night prior to the incident, rang the doorbell, and left. And then the next day he goes up to his doorbell, rings again, just stands there yelling slurs and stuff. I won't say what he said because I think he might get demonetized, or even terminated.
Well, were they racial slurs, or... 'cause you could say that, and that'll tell everybody what the heck he's saying.
He was calling him a fat faggot.
Oh, no, that's fine. You can say that.
I guess just can't fat fuck faggot say it's kind of like that. He was doing that, and a Boogie came to the door, didn't open it, but he was saying stuff back to him from the other side. This is all caught on tape. That's how I know this. This is all caught on tape. Boogie has like a security camera at his front door and stuff. So eventually, Boogie opens. Frank also had a GoPro on his head, so he was filming the entire thing. And then Boogie walks out. Boogie was filming part of it too, and he put it on Twitter. Then the Boogie turns his camera off. He goes to get his roommate's gun, walks out the door, and points the gun at Frank, threatening that he will fire a warning shot if he didn't leave. And he didn't leave. Boogie fired the warning shot, and eventually Frank left. The whole thing, it was trending on Twitter, surprisingly. Boogie, I don't know what happened. They got the police involved, but not much else has really been revealed since that incident happened. Keemstar's been getting involved again, which is a horrible idea.
Why is Keemstar getting involved?
Because they went on the debate on Drama Alert, the two of them.
Oh.
But yeah, it's a whole debacle. Boogie's been really skyrocketing downhill, which is a counterintuitive words there, but he's been really going downhill over the last few years. That's a whole different story. I won't talk about that here, but that was a horrible look for him, especially since he fired the gun. But a lot of people are sympathizing with him. They're sympathizing with the fact that Boogie's a maniac, which can be justified, but I don't know if it's true. But it brings up the point, like, you see people, you don't see people that show up to other celebrities' doors, but for some reason, people like showing up to YouTubers' front doors. And YouTubers are celebrities as well. And that's why you have to be, that's why we're careful, that's why at least I'm careful of revealing any locations that are close to where I live, or any addresses, or anything like that, because I don't want people coming to kill us, basically, even though we're both not big YouTubers yet, maybe. It's always a real possibility when you put yourself out there, and especially on the internet, that people could find out where you live. And that's why I try and be protective with, like, personal pictures that we have on our walls, or addresses, or locations, or stuff like that. And a lot of other YouTubers have too. Boogie actually did a video about 3 years ago talking about this exact thing, about what YouTubers showing up to their front doors. Many times he said people showed up to his front door. And then there was another time, Odd Ones Out also had this problem a few years ago. Someone forgot his phone number, so he had to change his phone number. That led to some pretty funny stories. That wasn't that threatening, but just like, especially like I was home, I had a sequence of days as well, 4.5 days where I was home alone. I think it was 3.5. Let's say about 3 actually. But I had work all the time, that's why I was home and I wasn't with my family. But I get home and I'm like I'm in my basement recording videos or playing video games or something.
Yeah.
And it seems like whenever you're home alone, whether it's in the middle of the day or it's in the middle of the night or anything, you always have that extra sense of paranoia, like there could be somebody outside watching me, there could be somebody, because you're the only one there and you have to defend the house, you have to defend your territory, it feels like. You get that instinct in you, so you're more paranoid, more vigilant for things that are going on. And when you're a well-known celebrity YouTuber, that becomes even more apparent. Because there's idiots that show up to your front door and could kill you, could rob you, could stuff, and so you have to defend yourself. So I get why Boogie got the gun. He shouldn't have fired the gun. I get why he pointed the gun. And Frank's a dumbass. I barely even know that. I barely even did any research into him. It's just like, wow. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying, because you got to be careful, because, like, even if you have a very good, like, fan base, you don't have to, it doesn't have to even be somebody who hates you. It could be somebody who's, like, a super mega fan, and they show up to your house, they say, they just want to talk to you and hang out with you, and you said, no, man, this is creepy, you can't do this, you're at my house now, and then out of nowhere, they'll friggin' murder you out of frustration. Ooh, frustration.
Right. That's what's so scary. So that's all I had to say about that topic.
Yeah.
Moving on. This is kind of a more open discussion instead of me just rambling on about real life facts and stories. But I was thinking the other day about like retro. I was watching AVGN. We'll get to AVGN again in a minute. Hint towards my next topic. But I was watching him. And I was trying to think like. He only does retro games. So what exactly counts as retro? Like, I was trying to figure out what the threshold is from retro to non-retro when it comes to gaming. I think I've kind of pinpointed it. I think that era right now, here in 2020, I think that right now is around 2000 to 2001. Because I see gaming systems such as, like, the PS2, and even the GameCube and the original Xbox, all which came out during that 2-year time slot, as retro systems, but I don't see like systems that came out years after that, like the DS, and especially the Wii, especially not the Wii yet, who it came out in 2004 and 2006 respectively. I don't see those as retro systems yet, but I want your take on it. Like, what for you is like retro?
For me right
What's on the
now,
retro?
I'd have to say that the Wii is pretty retro. And like I think that there's this whole generation of consoles that right before the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. And I know between the Nintendo Switch and the Wii, there was also the Wii U, but that was just kind of like a weird add-on for the Wii that didn't end up going very well for Nintendo. But I would definitely consider the Wii retro for sure at this point. It's got GameCube compatibility, and that I consider GameCube super retro at this point. Anything before that is like classic edition, like the actual Nintendo system or the Atari and all that. And for me, like deciding what games are retro and what are not, there's a couple of little categories. One of them is age, one of them is playability, and the other one is how well does it hold up to this day. So if it's a good game that you remember, or if you remember a game very fondly from your childhood, like, I don't know, let me think. Probably like Pokemon, for instance. Like, when I was younger, I used to play a lot of Pokemon, but I don't play that anymore. Pokemon. And like the modern Pokemon games are not interesting to me. They're not the same like sort of thing that I grew up with, which I started in like Black and White and ended with Sun and Moon because that was DS.
I ever played was Pokemon Go, but I guess it doesn't really fit into the Pokemon series.
Right, it's like a completely different thing. And also on that topic, any augmented reality game is definitely not retro. I don't think that any mobile game could be considered retro.
There are some that are getting kind of close, but none yet.
I wouldn't even consider Flappy Bird retro, and that's not even available anymore. Or like, I mean, Temple Run is borderline, because Temple Run is an old one.
Angry Birds is also kind of borderline, like the original Angry Birds.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty borderline as well, yeah. But, like, if I were to grab a Game Boy, back in the day when I had the Game Boy, there were some games on there that were really cool. Like, I had the Finding Nemo one, I had, like, the Kirby's Dream Land, like, original Game Boy copy or whatever. And those were really fun at the time. Super frustrating because, oh my god, games were so hard back then. They were not forgiving either. Every time you died, you had to start the whole thing over. But, they were fun back then. But I feel like now, holding on to a PS4 controller, like, I don't think I could go back to that. Like, I have Minecraft for a 3DS, and I was playing it the other day. But the DS controls are so weird and janky. Like,
especially the DS itself. Like 3DS is a little bit better, but not by much.
I got my 3DS in 3rd grade. I'm a senior now.
I got mine.
And I still have that same 3DS. I still have it. Too. With all my videos from 4th grade and all that.
I think it came out in 2011. We got it that Christmas. We got a special bundle. Heck, got Mario 3D Land installed on it. We also had a few other games. I also have a DS. I got my DS and I was like 6 or something. It's actually a DS Lite. Many people don't actually have the original DS because it's so... It was like shit.
It's so
nobody
old.
Cares about. Well, nobody cares. It was shit. I mean, look at it. It was an abomination to look at. Many people got the DS Lite, which came out like 2008 or something. I think 2007. So that's not retro yet either. But I can see where you're coming from with the Wii being retro. It's getting there. It's close. Especially with its graphics. Didn't have HD graphics.
So, it's funny that we're talking about this because originally when I was like coming up with ideas for what I could do on my YouTube channel, one of the things I came up with was I was just gonna play a bunch of old games because at this point in time I thought Minecraft was gonna stop getting updates. I didn't know that it was gonna keep going, and I was gonna get like a capture card as well, and I was just gonna go back and play games like Portal 2, frickin' Castle Crashers, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, games like that. And I'd do 3 videos per game, and I'd put them all in the same playlist, and I would do a poll on like a social media or at the last video, and asking people if they wanted me to continue playing the game. And that was my whole idea for how I was going to get content. But now I just do freaking podcasts and run around Minecraft farming for mending books. But like, I had all these cool games in my mind, and I have a Nintendo, and I was going to get like either a tripod with a camera to record the screen, or try to figure out how to capture that in a capture card. But
What do you have? A Nintendo what?
I have a Nintendo, just a Nintendo. It's sitting right over here.
You need to take a picture of that and send it to me, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Inside of this Nintendo right now is Excitebike, but like we have all these old games with a bunch of old like cases or whatever. We got Millipede, Skate or Die, Kung Fu, Championship Bowling.
Oh my god, that's so fun.
We got Mario and Duck Hunt on the same friggin' thing.
I think they had a crossover. Duck Hunt's irrelevant though. Now.
But I think Duck Hunt is considered a retro game though.
Oh yeah, it's definitely retro. It came out in like the 80s or something. I think early 90s maybe. No, Kirby's definitely retro. That came out in 1991. Stuff like that. The oldest gaming console I own is a Game Boy Pocket. It only has 2 games on it, Tetris and Miss Pac-Man. After that, it's our PS2, and then after that, it's our... I don't even remember. I'm not going to try and go chronological order after that. It kind of gets wonky. Yeah. One of the older games that I want to play, though, for my PS2, because I've only done one PS2 video. It turned out pretty shit. Because I can't put the microphone in anymore with that. But it's, ooh, Minecraft crashed. Shrek Super Party. I played this, we used to play this all the time. It's actually a really fun game. It's a 4-player game. It's one of the few 4-player games we own. We don't even have 4 controllers anymore for our PS2. So only 3 people can play it at a time. We lost one of those controllers. It broke. I don't know. But we're gonna play that soon. There's also a few other PS2 games I want to play. But that's off topic.
But so another thing that I want to get to, or talking about what's retro and what's not, is like going back to Minecraft. This has been a game since like I think 2008. It's been official release in like 2009, 2010. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head.
Yeah, right around there.
But it's old. It's one of like the oldest still living games today. But is it considered retro? I don't think so, and I think it's because of the updates. Like, if you went back to, like, beta Minecraft, which is pretty much where I started, like, before the Hunger Bar and all that, I would consider that retro, like, for sure, but it's still the same game, and I wouldn't consider the version I'm playing right now retro. So, I guess it's kind of weird when you're talking about what games are retro and what games are not.
Games is a completely different like discussion and topic. I was just talking about like gaming consoles.
Oh, consoles? I would definitely say that Xbox 360, PS2, Wii, anything before those. I wouldn't necessarily consider the PS3 retro yet.
PS3. Okay, so well, timeline for you. So the 2000 was PS2. 2001 was GameCube. 2000. And the original Xbox. 2005 was the Xbox 360. Wii and PS3 were 2006. Big stretch of them. DS fits in there with 2004.
When was the Xbox 360?
2005.
Yeah. It's weird. I still have my Xbox and it works great. But it's still kind of weird to think that something that old is still a thing today.
I mean, the original I think every original version of Xbox at some point has red ring. That was such a huge problem when the Xbox 360 came out with the red ring.
Yeah.
So they have updated versions of it and stuff. But that thing went for a long time, Xbox 360, and the PS2 went forever. It got its last game 13 years after it released. It got its last game the year the PS4 came out. Which is crazy. It's one of the top gaming systems of all time. PS2, and I can tell why.
Yeah, the PS2 definitely had some good classics. Like the PS2 Spider-Man. I think it was the second one. That one was a funny game.
Web of
boy.
Shadows?
One of them. I can't remember exactly what the title was.
I have Web of Shadows.
I haven't owned a PS4 or PS2 since I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9. So.
I have the amazing Allies edition of Spider-Man Web of Shadows. It's got Venom in it.
Wow. But yeah, so definitely when it comes to consoles, I do PS2, Xbox 360, Wii. Like, I for retro consoles, for me, I would pick games that I have fond memories of that I know for a fact I could never recreate. It's that retro feeling of playing Minecraft without a hunger bar for the first time, and there wasn't even like really a wiki yet. You just kind of had to watch people online to figure out what they were doing at the Yogscast. And so, like, all of this stuff that I have fond memories of that I can never recreate because the games are so old and I know everything about them now. Like that, those games are retro. Like the experience of going through Portal 2 for the first time was insane. But now here's my other thing. Like, can you consider sequels really retro if the original came before the sequel? I mean, that makes sense, but like,
that was kind of stupid.
Do you understand? How am I going to word this? Is Portal 2 retro if Portal 1 is retro? Are they both retro? Or is one retro and the other one not? Because one of them came, like, 2 years before, or whatever.
That's hard to say. I think the gaming series that this can best fit into is the Pikmin series. Pikmin 1 and 2 both came out for the GameCube, and I think about 2003, 2002. And the Pikmin 3, which was one of the top Wii U games of all time. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Pikmin 3 came out in 2013 or 2014. Of course, that's not retro yet, but like first two are. So I would definitely. I haven't played the first two Pikmin games. Those are my top two GameCube games to get. Now that I know I can play GameCube games on the Wii, I just need a controller. But I would definitely, when it's old enough, I would definitely consider Pikmin 3 to be retro. I would definitely, I don't know really any other sequels that would consider, I mean, of course, maybe like the Mario games, maybe, but that's a completely different thing. Like, all their Mario series, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, like in the 90s and stuff.
Super Mario Brothers 3 was one of the best Mario games ever. No cap.
And, so I consider maybe those to be retro, but yeah, it's a hard topic to get into, because another one's like Mario Kart. And Smash Bros. Smash is another good one to talk about.
Smash for the GameCube was, that's a tough one, because that one, like I said, I don't know if that's really considered retro or not. Okay, so here's my, so I think that I would consider the original Smash for the GameCube retro. But now, what's the difference between retro and classic? Like, where would be
classic? Classic is NES, Atari 2600, Game Boy, all that stuff. Retro is Super Nintendo, N64, PS2, all that stuff, I think. Like, classic is the originals, the OGs, like the very first ones. Retro is kind of like it's old, but it's not like an original version, sort of thing, in my opinion. You can't really put a threshold on classic to not classic, because stuff like even like the Wii, well, the Wii's a different story.
But like if I'm referring to Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, I would say, oh my god, that's such a classic in the Lego game community. But compared to like the NES, like when did the NES come out? Can you look that up real quick?
All right, let me do that. I know the
because I'm pretty sure the Complete Saga came out in 2006. But like what I'm saying is, I would consider the Complete Saga a classic, but it came out several years after the NES, which is also considered classic.
NES is in 1985, and the Super Nintendo came out in 1991. I know that.
So it's almost so for the NES, it's like almost 10 years after that, the complete Saga came out. But I would consider both of those classic things. But
well, you're talking about movies. Like movies is
no.
I don't know.
I'm talking about Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga.
Came out in 1995.
No, the NES came out in 1995, is what you were saying. And
No, it came out in 1985.
Oh, scheisse! That's even longer ago. I'm talking about Lego Star Wars Complete Saga. That came out in 2006, I believe. Citation needed. And I would consider them both classics, but they're like 20 years apart.
Well, games are different because like the original. Like,
I know that there's like this golden age and the silver age of gaming, and like it's the same thing with comics. And maybe that might be the like differentiating like thing between what's classic and retro and all that. But like it really is kind of weird when you think about some of these.
Games are complicated. Like you could say like going back to Pikmin, the original Pikmin is a classic. That came out like 2002 or something. Versus something that came out with the NES. That could be a classic. The original Mario game. That also kind of depends on maybe. Well, it depends on the age of the game or the system or whatever. But it's also the experience you remember having with it. Because one game I know, nothing. The Wii U is definitely not going to be a classic.
No, the Wii U was fucking awful, dude. There was nothing good on the Wii U. It's so funny because the Wii U... Okay, so here's what I'm... Like, the Xbox 360 came out before the Wii did. Then the Wii came out, and then they went to their next generation, which was the Wii U. And the Xbox 360 was still getting the same games that the Wii U was getting. If that doesn't tell you how not advanced the Wii was by itself, I don't know what does.
The Wii didn't have HD graphics. That was pretty bad. But, I mean... Did it mean... the Wii U, though, it had one of the greatest modern gaming lineups ever. But the system was just so horrible, it couldn't do anything. Because you look at all the games that were on the Wii U, all of them are already on the Switch. Mario Maker, Smash, all those. Mario Kart
Super Luigi Bros. Or whatever. That old one. Which was like the Wii U exclusive.
That was horrible. I had it.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I think the only major one that hasn't yet gotten a port to the Switch, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's Pikmin. There's no like Pikmin 4 or like Pikmin 3 Deluxe or anything like that. I haven't heard anything about that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, but I think that's the only major one that hasn't gotten like a port over. Because all the other good ones have. And so that makes the Wii U completely irrelevant.
Yeah. But like I guess in the end it's really up to the person who's judging them. And
right.
To decide what's retro, what's classic, and what's not. And like we keep saying, it's more based off of experiences that you've had and less on...
You can't really have one set universal threshold, mainly because it's, again, like you said, focused on experience, and people have different experiences.
Like, for me, I started playing games on the Game Boy, but for, like, you know, anybody who's in their 30s, there was like the NES or the SNES, the Atari, all that stuff, and so they and I have a very different idea of classic games or like super retro, or like the first games we played were very different. My first game was probably like Chicken Little on the 3DS, or not on the 3DS, on the Game Boy, and their first games were probably Kid Icarus or something ridiculous like that.
Right. My first video game, what was it? It wasn't a Wii game, because we got our Wii at Christmas of 2009. One game actually I do have a really fond memory of is a DS game. It was a Wally DS game.
Yeah.
I lost the game. Lost it for about 5... I lost it... I got it in 2008. Same year I think I got my DS. And then I lost the game that year. Found it about 5 years later, didn't give a shit about it, and lost it again. I haven't been able to find it since. I think it's gone now. I don't have that game anymore. I have Wally for the PS2. I tried that. It's not that bad, but anyway. That was one, and another one's like Mario Kart, Mario Kart DS. I remember that being very, very fond memory for me, and all that kind of stuff. It's just different, you know, when you get age too. Like some of the games that I used to love as a kid, I don't really love anymore.
Right.
Either because they've become irrelevant and they're just not as good anymore, or we're growing up out of them, or in the case of the Wally game, we just completely lost the cartridge and can't find it.
Yeah. So I think to end this discussion, what do you guys think in the comments? Those of you who listen to these podcasts.
Yes. Please.
What do you guys
I want
think?
to hear other opinions.
What were your first games that you ended up playing? What would you consider classic and retro? And yeah, leave it in the comments. All right.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Do you want to talk now, or do you want me to keep talking?
I'm gonna let you keep talking.
Keep running my mouth. All right, another topic. So, I mentioned AVGN at the beginning of the other topic, but there's this YouTube category, like I don't know, like content creation category. You know, like some people do ranting and discussions and gaming and reviewing or vlogging or stuff like that. That's what I'm kind of mentioning here. So there's a YouTube category that I say, as far as I know, out of the main ones, none are bad. Like the only one that doesn't really have a bad creator of it, but there's only a few. And it's like I don't know what to say. It's like, I'm just gonna mention who they are. The first one that came around was AVGN, or Cinema Massacre is what the channel name is called. He came around in 2006 on YouTube at least, but he started making stuff in 2004, even before YouTube even came out. Still very prominent YouTuber to this day. AVGN, Angry Video Game Nerd, is his top series by far. All of his most popular videos are from that series. And then the next one, 2010, JonTron came around, surprisingly. And he's really good. He's a lot more inconsistent in his upload schedule. But that's not against like the content he makes. And then 2017, Scott the Waz comes around. And all three of them are top tier YouTubers, I believe. They all do the same thing. They do like this game review or like parody and like comedic sort of like review about games, or JonTron even does like movies or books or like websites or people or stuff like that. Like JonTron kind of branched out to everything, but Scott the Waz sticks to more modern games, mainly like Nintendo, but he does other stuff as well. AVGN's more of the retro type thing, but of course retro's changing, so he's getting into the more modern stuff. He also does movies and all that kind of stuff for a different reason. He doesn't do that for his AVGN series, obviously. But like those are the top three in like a very small group, and they're all top tier YouTubers. I was just thinking like, there's no other category that has like, I know a lot of gaming YouTubers, not all of them are great. I know a lot of people that do like videos on history and like discussion stuff. There's a lot of good ones, but they're not all great. There's like a range of YouTubers, you know. There's some good ones, but they're not great. But like, I don't know where I'm actually going with this. I came up with this topic earlier today. Like, I don't know. I don't want to talk about AVGN because he's one of the very first YouTubers I started watching. AVGN around 2014. That was around the peak of his height. Peak of his height? No, his peak of his popularity. That's the word.
The peak of his height.
Some of the most, for that reason, some of the most classic YouTube videos of my time, is his Big Rigs video, his Sonic 06 Part 1 at least, Part 2's fine, I guess. His another funny series he does that really got screwed over by the YouTube algorithm, and I'll get to that in a minute, was his you know what's bullshit series. That's really funny. Not as popular, but it's really funny. That got screwed over by the YouTube algorithm because he's no longer allowed to swear. And he had to change every single thumbnail for those videos to say BS and not bullshit. It's so horrible.
Can we talk about how dumb it is that YouTube doesn't let you swear, but they also don't let you make content for children?
I mean, there's a kids platform for a reason,
Right.
but they just act like it's not there.
I mean, what is their idea of adult content? What's the difference between kid and adult content? Like, I know there's a definite difference between Cocomelon and frickin', you know, mechanic videos, but, like, who are they appealing to? That was almost weird. Like, who is their target audience? Who does YouTube think pulls in the most views? Do they think it's all the old people that get old women that get offended by swearing and put on Cocomelon for their kids to listen to? Or not their kids, but their grandkids?
No, it's because they let their 6-year-old kids watch PewDiePie and stuff. So
they should. They should.
But anyway, he really got screwed over this. JonTron hasn't. Thank God. JonTron's a classic. But I was going back to classic YouTube videos that I've watched. Another one is from Markiplier. His Five Nights at Freddy's series. Five Nights at Freddy's has been still one of his top. His very first Five Nights at Freddy's video is still in his top 3, I think. I think it's like second most popular video on his YouTube channel. And that's saying a lot for Markiplier. I mean, that dude, he's one of the top YouTubers, even in the YouTube community.
Top gaming YouTubers. You gotta be very specific about that. Because I would not consider him one of the top YouTubers.
I mean, he's got over 20 million subscribers. So...
Yeah, I know, but Mr. Beast has now 40 million subscribers, and that's a YouTuber that we can all get behind, because he is perfect.
He's a legend. But that's very another classic videos, his very first. And when he did the second game too, FNAF 2. Those were really fun as well. After that, I started not getting interested as much.
I don't watch Markiplier anymore. His videos seem kind of lame. Also, he doesn't swear in his videos anymore. Or he censors his swearing in that.
He also got screwed over by the YouTube algorithm not too long ago.
Yeah. Even though he's one of the people that was trying to fight that. Yeah, YouTube kind of sucks, but, you know, I think it's still better than Twitch. And actually, we haven't really talked about why I haven't gone back to Twitch. All I've really said is that YouTube is better, and I haven't really talked about why. So I guess I'll just take a minute to talk about why I don't like Twitch as much as YouTube anymore. So the first reason I don't like Twitch as much as YouTube is because of the amount of simping that not the viewers simping, but like Twitch themselves. Like literally there'll be a nip slip or something like live, just completely live in front of hundreds of thousands of people from one of the biggest like freaking female streamers there is, and you know they'll go oops, and you like sometimes you can tell that they did this on purpose. They did this for the popularity, for like the news reporting, so everybody like, oh, this person did this, and they'll get like hundreds of thousands of views just from that like thing alone, and then people keep watching because like, oh, maybe she's gonna do it again, or maybe it'll happen again. And Twitch does nothing about that. They do nothing. They don't like take down the channel at all. Whereas, for instance, Schlatt, I don't know if you know who Jay Schlatt is. He's a really funny guy. He couldn't get verified on Twitch because every time somebody would enter his Minecraft world or something like that. I don't know the whole story, but he couldn't get verified because every time somebody would join whatever the heck he was doing, he would ask them, hey, you like cock and ball torture? You like cock and ball torture? And that's the only reason. But I mean, like, you know, somebody like Alinity can do these nasty, grotesque things and get away with it, whereas Schlatt says, do you like cock and ball torture? And he can't even get verified. So that's why he doesn't even do Twitch anymore. That's why he doesn't stream. Like, he does YouTube. Like, the only time he's like, is in a stream is on somebody else's stream. Like, the Dream SMP right now, they've got, like, a lot of drama going on, and it's because of Schlatt. But, like, you've never seen Schlatt's, like, perspective of it. Oh, it's always been somebody's perspective of Schlatt. It's because he doesn't stream.
Right.
Because Twitch is just kind of bonk. And another reason I don't like it is because they're kind of, like, in the beginning it was cool, because you could play your ads wherever you wanted. So you could take a break and then play some ads, and your viewers wouldn't miss anything. But Twitch has been started to go the same route as YouTube went, in the sense that you can't control where the ads come in or anything like that. And so basically, like, you know, you'll be in the middle of the stream. It'll be like Technoblade versus Dream or something like that. I know that was not live and that was on Mr. Beast's channel, but gaming channel. But it'll be something like that big, and it'll come down to the wire, the final match, and then bam, everybody's hit with an ad, and you miss what happened. Whereas normally or previously, you could just, you know, bam, that round's over, Dream wins, Technoblade wins, whatever, that's besides the point. And then you say, all right, guys, we're going to take a break and run some ads. Go get yourself a drink of water, head to the bathroom, and we'll be right back. But now it's like you go in, right? And this is what really annoys me sometimes is I get into like a Yogscast stream, and it'll start playing ads immediately. And then it goes in, and they'll be in for 2 minutes, and they're like, all right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. And I was just like, so now I have to wait like 15 minutes for these people to come back so I can enjoy their live streams. It just gets, it's pretty bad sometimes. It really is pretty bad sometimes.
I didn't know that. Does when you do YouTube streams, does it do an ad right in the middle?
No, because we don't get ad revenue. Or at least I don't get ad revenue. And yeah, when I have been watching a lot of the Dream SMP from Technoblade's perspective, and he's one of the only people of that group that streams it on YouTube. And when I was watching a stream, I didn't come across an ad, but when I was watching like a VOD, which is like the video after the stream, that's just the entire stream, then I saw some ads in there, and they would like play in random places, but they were all, not that crazy. They were all 15-second ads, whereas like Twitch, some of them are freaking long, and it just kind of defeat the purpose for me for a little bit. And also another reason why I came back to YouTube and started doing more YouTube and haven't done Twitch since is because the very first like YouTube stream I did was on Minecraft, and it got more views than the entirety of every Twitch stream that I have ever done.
Right. I feel like YouTube streams for us especially are better because of the fact that we don't have a lot of followers / subscribers on Twitch, but we have more on YouTube, and we're getting people that come and watch and comment, and we can have chat with them while we're playing or stuff like that. So I think it's been better for us personally, as well as like it's better for other YouTubers as well, because it's the same scale, just well, it's not the same. It's on a higher scale basically, but it's the same kind of like thing.
Also, another thing I like about YouTube streaming better than Twitch streaming is that fact that like the VODs do just go straight up after I'm done streaming. They'll just be there, and I don't have to go to Twitch and grab a new one or like download the video and then upload it to YouTube. Like it's already uploaded at that point. And so, if you miss the Twitch stream and then I forget to upload it, like for instance, if you missed that one podcast we did that I forgot to upload, that's gone forever. You will never find that again. Like, there's no going back to that. I wouldn't say necessarily that it was my fault. Like, I didn't...
It was your fault.
No, I'd say it's partially my fault. I wouldn't say that it's my fault at all, because, like, literally, it would have been completely fine had it not been erased in 2 weeks. Like, I would have been perfect. But instead... No, it's gone now, forever. Yay. Yeah. So, speaking about Minecraft, I'm going to get to my last topic. You might notice that I've been streaming Minecraft a lot more recently. And, 1 week ago, it was Fall Guys in Rec Room. So, school started, and it's been really, really stressful. Sometimes, especially with AP Calc and like British literature and all that stuff.
You chose to take AP. I didn't choose to take AP.
That's besides the point. It's still stressful. I mean, no matter how you slice it or dice it, it's still stressful for me.
Continue.
But What are you yelling at me to continue for? You're the one who interrupted.
I know.
Anyway, so I was getting real stressed out, and I played a couple rounds of Fall Guys a couple days, and like just off camera, just casually, and I was getting very, very frustrated, and I like chucked a controller across the room, and it was just awful.
I don't know if I told you this, but when I was playing by myself on stream one day, the controller I'm holding now, I threw it onto the ground because I was pissed. Obviously, I do that all the time. I've thrown quite a few controllers, but I threw it. I meant to throw it right at our carpet, which wouldn't have done any damage to it. But I threw it, and it hit the corner of our entertainment system, and by the right triggers, there's a huge gape in it. Not too big actually, but it's pretty big. Hasn't done anything to it. I think that's why the X button's not as responsive anymore. I try not to destroy the equipment. I just throw it on the carpet so it doesn't get damaged.
But so I stopped playing Fall Guys, and almost immediately I noticed my stress levels going down, and I feel
don't explain why we stopped playing Rec Room. I'm going to talk about that when we're done, but yeah, you can continue.
Well, we actually don't have much time left in this podcast. It's like 10 minutes or something like that. Yeah, we have 11 minutes. Maybe we'll do 2 podcasts. I don't know or maybe just another special DLC thing, and I'll add it to the. Actually, I could just add it to the end of this one. We'll keep talking until we're done officially. So I definitely did notice as soon as I stopped doing Rec Room and Fall Guys, my stress levels went down. Schoolwork started coming easier. My brain could think through it. And I also think that Minecraft has helped a lot with my stress levels going down, because, you know, almost immediately after I started playing it, the music was getting me like all in a relaxed mood, and it was just so nice, like the feeling of like not having to deal with idiots 24/7 unless it's Tyler or Brian.
Shut up.
And like it was a very low stress environment. The only stressful bit about the first Minecraft stream that I did was the fact that Tyler's Minecraft couldn't work. But after that, it was just me by myself.
It's working now though.
Chilling in a Minecraft world.
It works. So if you want to stream today, it's working now. So if you want to stream, we can stream later today if you want.
Okay.
Maybe
but,
I gotta check.
So
that's off topic.
So it was just me by myself, and Tyler was playing Fall Guys in the background, and he was being like awfully quiet. But it became less of a like. I'm sure that Tyler was stressed out a lot because if it got to the point where he was like no, and he was like going nuts and whatever. And
okay, you have to admit though, as from a viewer's perspective, us playing Fall Guys and raging is hilarious. It's horrible for us.
But my version of raging was not a funny kind of raging. It wasn't screaming at the top of my lungs at this, and then my audio breaks because of how loud I was being. No, it was me literally just swearing like, just a lot, and then almost immediately after that playing the next round, that it being frickin' seesaw again, and then me failing again, not even qualifying the first frickin' round, and then I would just bang my controller against the frickin' thing, and I would literally just rage quit. I don't deal well with rage. I don't know if you know this, but
oh, I know.
yeah, I don't do very well with it at all. And so as soon as I stopped playing it, my stress levels went down. Thanks Minecraft for being a low stress game. Like right now, I've just been sitting here waiting for frickin' wheat to grow so I can frickin' get more mending books. I need 1 more emerald, and then I can have 2 more mending books.
Nice.
So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, and that's like the reason why I stopped doing Fall Guys, and I might do a couple for Season 2, which comes out tomorrow. But it won't be tomorrow, because this weekend I'm going scuba diving. We'll talk about that on the next podcast we do. My experience in that. It's going to be super cold. We're going to Ohio to some quarry.
Oh, rip.
And so...
Actually, it won't be too cold this weekend, so...
yeah, I probably won't do anything tomorrow or Friday. Maybe Friday. Maybe Friday after school since it's a half day. I'm gonna have to go to bed at like 8 though because I have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the scuba thing. But so yeah, I'm gonna be probably not streaming tomorrow because I have to work. Probably not doing anything Friday. Maybe Friday though. Maybe. And
perhaps.
You know. So scuba's coming up. I got all this stuff to do. Schoolwork. I gotta do more schoolwork after we're done with whatever we're doing today and all that. Alright. So we're gonna...
Should I just keep talking or...
Here, we're gonna end this portion here. I won't do an outro yet, but like, it should just straight cut to the next part of it, and it should be no problem, so... See you in a minute.
Right.